Thank you, Presiding Officer. I'm pleased to have the opportunity to speak in this afternoon's Stage 1 proceedings of the importance of the South Scotland Enterprise Agency Bill. This bill is welcome and needed to benefit my South Scotland region, its businesses, its people and its towns, villages and rural areas. And I'm pleased to have been involved in this process. I attended the Rural Economy and Connectivity Evidence Session in Dumfries at Easterbrook Hall, and I have attended various events for the interim South Scotland Economic Partnership, having met with its chair, Russell Griggs, as well as board members, formally and informally, to hear about the work that they have been taken forward. And I've also been able to support the South Scotland Economic Partnership through writing to the Scottish Government about the positives and negatives to ensure that the new agency and associated legislation is strong. The Stage 1 report from the committee states that the committee is in no doubt, and I think we're in no doubt across chamber today, that the creation of a South Scotland Economic Partnership is required and that the agency which is now being debated is absolutely essential for the region. The committee supports the general principles of the bill and recommends to Parliament that they be agreed to. And I know that this will be extremely refreshing for people across the south of Scotland, and I certainly hope members across chamber will join me in echoing these remarks today. Presiding Officer, I'd like to start by giving some context as to how the idea of the South Scotland Enterprise Agency first came about. And just to remind everybody that in 2016, the First Minister announced a review of enterprise and skills bodies across Scotland to allow the government to better meet its objective of seeing a vibrant economy. And it was agreed in terms of reference for the review that it would have the objective of allowing for a transformational step change in performance for a range of economic outcomes. The review process identified several challenges facing the economy of the Dumfries and Galloway and Scottish Borders areas, and members have spoke about this already. An older population with an out-migration of young people, relatively low levels of productivity and GDP growth, transport and digital connectivity challenges, and I'll come on to that as well, because I think it's really important, higher concentrations of low-paying, lower-skilled sectors, and several fragile communities across the region, and relatively low levels of private sector investment, research and development. I'd like to highlight a few of these challenges which both constituents and businesses across the region have conveyed to me that they feel are the main barriers to the region flourishing. The region does have poor transport infrastructure, and as members will know, this is something that I have lobbied the Scottish Government for in my time here, as well as other members across chamber, bringing forward members' debates to highlight the need for greater investment on the main arterial routes, the A75, the 76 and 77, which do connect South Scotland and Northern Ireland, as well as North England and the wider Scotland. And this was highlighted quite eloquently by my colleague Alec Neil. Last summer, I hosted a meeting in Stranraer, which the Cabinet Secretary for Transport, Infrastructure and Connectivity attended. It was made clear at the meeting by businesses, including Sten and P&O ferry companies and different local action groups, that to attract investment, business and people to the region, transport infrastructure must be improved. This is imperative. I'm therefore pleased to see that in the committee's report, the request to look at transport infrastructure, in addition to the South Scotland Strategic Transport Review, the findings of which are set to be published soon, is part of the committee's asks. I would ask the Cabinet Secretary for a commitment that improving transport infrastructure across the South Scotland is a priority for the Scottish Government and will be part of the new Enterprise Agency's remit. In addition to these challenges, the Scottish Government's consultation also recognised several strengths and assets enjoyed by the area. These include a strong community spirit, characterised by a high degree of cohesion, resilience and commitment to the local area. A natural environment that provides a high quality of life, good place to raise a family and plenty of opportunities for healthy living. It's a rich and historical and cultural landscape, particularly important in terms of developing the area's tourism industry. And it is a good strategic location, being relatively close to the north of England, the Central Belt and Ireland, as has already been described. Tourism and attracting tourists to South Scotland, as mentioned, is one of these strengths and is vital to the region. And I agree with Oliver Mundell that across South Scotland we have many micro, small and medium-sized enterprises across many sectors, including food and drink sector, such as Galloway Soup and Professor Pod's Chili's, who I visited yesterday. And we've got the Tourism and Leisure from Lagan Outdoor Centre, Creama Galloway, and the Galloway Activity Centre in Loch Ken, where activities for everyone to participate in is part of the remit there. So I'd like to see the new South Scotland Enterprise Agency actively working to support the small and medium-sized enterprises and other businesses by helping to attract people to visit them and ultimately by improving the transport links for them. And I would talk for hours, Presiding Officer, about how this bill is so important, but unfortunately don't have enough time. But I'd like to congratulate all involved, both with the work to get this Stage 1 bill to Parliament, as well as all those who have been involved with the interim South Scotland Economic Partnership. I hear what Mr Carson and others are saying about how people are feeling forgotten. That is what I hear too across the whole region, and many people's perception is that they feel forgotten. So I'd ask Mr Carson to help change that perception. The light is shining on the south of Scotland right now. Let's be positive and objective about promoting our beautiful region and work together for the benefit of the whole of our region. Thank you.
I'm sure Mr Carson hears you.